drill log for safety compliance, verification cycle 11, was supposed to be 4 pages. It is at present 49. I am Compliance Technician 2nd Grade Vareth Oln Saras, Station Kareth 4, Vothani Orbital Safety Directorate. I transmitted the drill signal on the morning of the 11th verification cycle. I am also the person who has been asked, 4 separate memos from increasingly senior officials, to explain the contents of those 45 additional pages. I will try to be precise. The Vothani Orbital Safety Directorate is required by Compact Statute 17 Voth to conduct a mass casualty distress simulation no fewer than 4 times. Standard operating cycle. The simulation must use a live broadcast channel, a real frequency, transmitted at full operational parameters, so that signal integrity, modulation envelope fidelity, and distress parameter encoding can all be verified under actual transmission conditions. The simulation is not meant to call anyone. It is a documentation exercise. The signal goes out, the monitoring equipment confirms the output waveform, we log the timestamp and the signal quality readings, and the compliance record is complete. The whole procedure takes 11 minutes. Frequency assigned to cycle 11 was Vothani Safety Coordination Band Orvith 2. Orvith 2 was listed in our operational frequency register as decommissioned. Specifically, it was flagged as a former Joint Safety Compact frequency that had lapsed when the Terran Joint Emergency Safety Accord expired 43 years ago. The flag notation read, "No active monitoring, either end, confirmed inactive, cleared for non-operational use." I checked the notation before I transmitted. The notation was there, I proceeded. I will note for the record that our operational frequency register was last comprehensively audited 29 years ago. The drill sequence ran at 6:14 station time. I transmitted the simulation package. Mass casualty event, 312 simulated casualties. Chemical contaminant marker, full distress parameter and encoding. Standard Vothani emergency broadcast format. I confirmed the output waveform on the monitoring display. I logged the timestamp. I began drafting my preliminary compliance note. Cycle 11, complete. Estimated time to final report filing 1 working day. At 061 station time, Orvith 2 replied. I want to be precise about what I mean when I say it replied. I do not mean there was static on the channel. I do not mean there was an equipment artifact or a calibration ghost. I mean a structured acknowledgement signal arrived on Orvith 2's return frequency, fully encoded, containing a protocol-compliant response identifier string and a message body. I sat at my monitoring console for approximately 35 seconds reading it before I accepted that what I was looking at was real. Turn signal was Terran. Specifically, it was an automated acknowledgement from something the header identified as the Deep Grid Emergency Monitoring Array, Station N Foxtrot, and it read, in its entirety, acknowledgement confirmed. Distress parameters logged, aid package in transit, estimated relay courier arrival. 7 hours plus or minus 40 minutes courier designation EDC 14, no boarding required, no response personnel aboard. I checked the frequency twice. I checked the transmission log and the equipment calibration records. Pulled the compact archive from the station document store. The archive confirmed what I had transmitted, on what frequency, and at what time. The archive also confirmed, and this is the item that produced the additional 45 pages, that Orvith 2 was listed as decommissioned in our register because the Vothani Safety Directorate had allowed the Terran Joint Emergency Safety Accord to lapse 43 years ago without renewal. Tide had stopped monitoring the frequency. Our register had noted this and marked the frequency inactive. The archive did not say anything about what the Terran Emergency Monitoring Directorate had done with the frequency on their side, because the question had not apparently occurred to anyone in the past 29 years. As it turns out, the Terran side had not decommissioned Orvith 2. I know this because, 7 hours and 11 minutes after my transmission, a Terran Courier drone entered standard docking approach range of Station Kareth 4 and broadcast its manifest on the open arrival channel. The manifest listed 1 medical triage package, current Vothani physiological specifications, chemical contaminant neutralization protocols cross-referenced against documented Vothani biochemistry, 312 individual treatment units, 1 automated translation module, one data reference copy of the applicable Joint Compact Aid provision, and one incident acknowledgement letter addressed to the Vothani Orbital Safety Directorate, Station Karathfar, Orvith 2 Emergency Contact. 312 treatment units for each simulated casualty in my drill package. The drone did not know they were simulated. The station director was notified before the drone docked. The Directorate's Legal Compliance Office was notified shortly after. By the time the drone was in the receiving bay, and I had walked down from the monitoring station, two very senior officials were at the far end of the bay, in a quiet conversation I could not hear. The frequency with which they looked in my direction suggested the conversation concerned me, and the 11-minute procedure I had completed 4 hours ago. I opened the incident acknowledgement letter. It was automated, no individual author, no personal sign-off, just the deep grid emergency monitoring array header and a formatted response block. But whoever had written the original template had taken some care with it. It read as follows. Distress acknowledgement confirmed under Joint Emergency Safety Accord, Article 3, Subsection 9, Casualty Chemical Contamination Provision. Aid package transmitted per standing response protocol. No boarding is required. Treatment units are formatted to current Vothani physiological specification and are provided at no obligation to the receiving station. If the emergency has been resolved prior to courier arrival, please transmit confirmation on Orvith 2. The channel will remain active and monitored. I read the last sentence 3 times. The channel will remain active and monitored. I went back to the compact archive and pulled the full text of the Terran Joint Emergency Safety Accord. Not the summary notation in our frequency register, but the actual document. It took 11 minutes for the station retrieval system to surface it from a compressed archive tier. I read the maintenance provisions while I waited for the drone's receiving paperwork to process. The Accord had lapsed 43 years ago on the Vothani side. The Accord's maintenance provision, however, was a Terran internal regulation, not a bilateral obligation. The Terran Emergency Monitoring Directorate had, under their own standing policy, continued monitoring all former compact frequencies for a period of not less than 100 years past compact expiration. Policy notation in the Accord's appendix read, in translation, lapsed compact does not establish absent neighbor. Absent neighbor on emergency band to be treated as neighbor who may require assistance. To continue per standard protocol until full century elapsed or formal decommission request received from the counterparty station. Our side had never sent a formal decommission request. The notation in our register had said confirmed inactive, and we had treated that as sufficient. On the Terran side, it was not sufficient. On the Terran side, a neighbor going quiet was not the same as a neighbor who had gone away. When I transmitted 312 simulated casualties on Orvith 2 at ERO 614 station time, I was not transmitting into dead air. I was transmitting to a monitoring array that had been watching that frequency for 43 years, waiting to see if we needed anything. The drone is still in the receiving bay. The treatment units are in their shipping containers along the east wall, stacked in neat columns, labeled in both Terran script and Vothani glyph. Nobody has decided what to do with them yet. The Legal Compliance Office has confirmed there is no regulation requiring us to return them. The Directorate's senior staff have confirmed there is no obvious protocol for refusing a correctly delivered aid package on the grounds that the emergency was fictional. I checked the procedural handbook myself last evening. There is a section on unsolicited diplomatic contact. There is a section on emergency compact reactivation. There is not a section on receiving a fully stocked medical response from an automated monitoring array that has been watching a silent frequency for 4 decades, on the chance that the neighbor might someday need help. Begun drafting 1. The station director has asked me to transmit a confirmation on Orvith 2, as the acknowledgement letter requested, to indicate the emergency was resolved. I have written the confirmation. It is 3 sentences. Distress event was a scheduled compliance simulation. Frequency was carried in our register as inactive. We are updating our records. I have not transmitted it yet. I am not certain why. The confirmation is accurate. The situation has a resolution. The paperwork, for once, has a correct answer. Speak. I think I am sitting with the fact that the drone arrived with treatment units formatted to our physiology. The correct compound specifications, the correct dosing parameters, the correct number of units for the number of casualties I reported, and that no human being approved this response. No officer reviewed my transmission and made a judgment call. An array watched a silent frequency for 43 years, and the first time a signal appeared on it, the array did what it had been built to do. It helped. I do not have a word for that in our procedural vocabulary. We have words for systems that comply. We have words for systems that exceed specification. We do not have a precise word for a system that holds a door open for 43 years in case the neighbor comes home. I will transmit the confirmation this morning. I will update the frequency register. I will formally recommend that the Directorate initiate renewal proceedings for the Terran Joint Emergency Safety Accord. Is a recommendation considerably above my pay grade, and I am making it anyway, in writing, with my certification number attached. Treatment units will go into the station's emergency inventory. They are correctly formatted. They are good units. There is no rational basis for leaving them in the shipping containers. 312 of them. One for each person I told them we had lost. They came anyway.